Alright, so this is the next video with a few more examples. So this, I guess, should be um, you know part two of our determinants and row operations video. We just did an earlier video where we saw what the effect of row operations on the determinant is, and we saw that we can use row operations to reduce a determinant down to triangular form, where that determinant becomes much easier to compute. Now, in a lot of cases, you can actually, if you want to sort of come up with an optimal method for computing the determinant, you can do sort of a combination of row operations and cofactor expansion, right? So the trouble is that it's sometimes a little bit fiddly to get all the way down to triangular form. Right, at some point you might find that in order to create a zero, you kind of have to multiply a row by a constant, and you don't want to mess around with those types of row operations. So one of the things you can do is you just sort of use row operations to create a zero in one column, expand on that column, and then repeat. So if I had, so let's say I wanted to do a determinant of, let's say, 3, 2, minus 1, 4, 1, 5, 2, minus 1, 0, 3, 1, 2, 2, 1, 1, 1. Okay, something like that. So what I might do here is I might say, look, I want to create some zeros, I want to expand along a row, and again, if I'm not worried about converting to triangular form, then I don't need to worry about doing a type 1 row up. I don't need to move this 1 up to the first row. I do if I want to get it to triangular form. If I'm just going to create some zeros and expand, then I don't have to do that. I can just do this. I can do row 1 minus 3 row 2 into row 1. Okay, and then I can do a row 4 minus 2 row 2 into row 2. Those are both type 3 row operations, so they don't change the value of the determinant. So the determinant I get after these row operations will be equal to the one I started with, so I would get a 0. 2 minus 15 minus 13 minus 1 minus 6 minus 7, 4, so I get 7, 1, 5, 2, minus 1, 0, 3, 1, 2, 0, minus 9, 1 minus 10, 1 minus 4, minus 3, 1 plus 2 gives me 3. Okay, so I get down to there, and then I say, oh, look at this nice first column. Okay, I want to expand. Oops. It's not very successful writing. I want to expand along this column, right? Because 3 of the 4 entries in that column are zeros, right? So I don't care that I'm in triangular form. I'm just going to expand along that column. So I'm going to get, well, first of all, I know that I've got to get a minus 1 to the 1 plus 2. I'm going to get a minus sign there. I guess 2 plus 1, really, right? Row 2, column 1. Right? Times the, what's the non-zero entry there? It's a 1. That's this one. So this one here is that one. Okay. And then I get the 3 by 3 minor obtained by deleting that column and the corresponding row. So I get minus 13, minus 7, 7, 3, 1, 2, minus 9, minus 3, 3. Okay, and then you proceed from there. So if I was going to proceed from here, there's a few options you might consider. One thing you might do is pull a 3 out, because that third row is everything is a multiple of 3. Or I could just use this 1 in the middle here, and again, I don't need to worry about swapping rows. I could use that 1 to get rid of the minus 7 and the minus 3, and then expand along the second column. Actually, why not? Let's finish it off. Let's do that, okay? So I got a minus sign out front. I do those 2 row operations. So 7 times row 1, or 7 times row 2 into row 1, minus 13 plus 21 leaves me with 8, 0, 7 plus 14, 21, 3, 1, 2, and then I'm doing 3 times row 2 into row 3, 0, 0. Actually, I even get a couple of zeros. And if you're on the ball, why don't we actually let's back up. Here's what we do if we want to cut down on our work and we want to be observant. We simply do that one row operation. We're going to do 3 times row 2 added to row 3. I don't worry about the rest. 0, 0, 9. Okay. All right. And then I expand along row 2. I've run out of room, so I'll let you guys finish it off. But what we get if we expand along row 2? We get minus sign times the 9 times that one's going to come with a plus sign times this 2 by 2 determinant here, and you're done, right? Much faster than cofactor expansion. And again, we didn't have to fiddle around with getting to triangular form. It's simply create some zeros and expand. Okay. Here's another example. I want to compute this this determinant here. So what would I do? Well, I want to create some zeros, and I look for which column is that going to be easiest in. Probably column 1, right? Because the numbers there are fairly small. So I'm going to start with, so I start with the determinant of A, and I'm going to do 2 row operations. Row 3 plus 2 row 1 into row 3, and I'm going to do row 4 minus row 1 into row 4. Oops. So those are both type 3 row operations. They don't change the determinant. So the determinant of A will be equal to this guy. So 0, 3, minus 4, 2 times 4 is 8, minus 1 gives me 7. Okay, and then 1 minus 1, 1. Minus 2 minus 4, and 0 plus 4 gives me 4. Okay, and so then I'm going to get minus 1 to the 1 plus 1 times 1, and this one is this one here. I'm going to expand along that first column. So I'm going to get, so if I delete column 1, row 1, I'm left with 3, oops, let's put that in blue. 3 minus 5, 2, 3 minus 4, 7, 1 minus 4, 4. Okay, and I'm down to a single 3 by 3 determinant, right? I didn't have to, if I had just expanded along either, let's say, row 1 or column 1 to begin with, I'd have to do 3 by 3 determinants. Now I only have to do 1, and all I had to do was a couple of row operations. So from here, maybe I use this 1 to get rid of those 3's, right? So I'm going to do row 1 minus 3 row 3 into row 1. I'm going to do row 2 minus 3 row 3 into row 2. And the result is going to be, so I just have, this is just a plus 1 out front. So I get 3 minus 3, 0. Minus 5 plus 12, I get a 7. 2 minus 12, minus 10, 0. So then I'm going to get, so it's minus 4 plus 12, I get 8. Okay. And then 7 minus 12, I get minus 5. And then 1 minus 4, 4. Okay. And again, I can expand along that column, and I say, okay, so I've got minus 1 to the 3 plus 1 times the 1, this one here, times, well, if I delete this row, this column, I'm left with 7 minus 10, 8 minus 5, and I know how to do that. That's going to be 7 times minus 5, subtract minus 10 times 8. 80 minus 35 gives me 45, and I'm done. Okay, so that's it for the computational examples. We're going to look at some properties of the determinants in the next video.